Hey guys, Break here, and today I've got an interesting story that I thought some of you would be interested in. I'd like to start off by saying I really don't suggest that you do this. I don't advocate it in any way. It's against the terms of use and you will very likely get banned. I did, and yeah, so that's kind of why I'm telling you, to tell you not to do it, but also to tell you an interesting story of what I did back in Mists of Pandaria. Now you may be wondering why I'm in Orgrimmar on a random orc, why I'm wearing a stupid outfit, and I will tell you. So one day I was in Orgrimmar on my level 90, and yeah, back in Mists of Pandaria, suddenly I saw in trade chat someone advertising a casino. I was like, I've never seen this before, so I got kind of interested. I whispered them, and I had a bit of gold back then. I was interested in making gold, but I was definitely not rich. This was at the start of Mists, so yeah, I really got into the gold making towards the end of Mists, start of Warlords. So this guy was standing right about here, and he was saying, roll 1 to 65 and don't get any gold back, roll 65 to 97 and get double your gold back, and roll 98 plus, get triple your gold back. I'm sure you guys have seen something like this in trade before. They often spam it loads of times and it's very annoying. Anyway, I was intrigued. I traded them 1,000 gold. I rolled a 45 or something. I can't remember what I rolled. Anyway, I didn't win. So he took my gold. That was fine. I was like, oh, that was interesting. And I played a couple more times and I actually won a couple of times, which was cool. I got some of my gold back and yeah, everything was good. I was happy. I thought it was an interesting idea and I went about my day. Now, over the next days, I saw him and a couple of other people doing the same thing, advertising a casino. I didn't play until I got really excited about one person who was saying roll 1 to 55, get single, roll 55 to 90, get double, and roll 90 plus, get triple. Those were a lot better odds than what I got before, so I was like, alright, I'll give him a go. So I traded 2,000 gold, I think, something like that, and I actually got 94, 95, something like that. I got triple my gold. What did this person do? They just slash LOL'd at me and logged off. So that was fun, got scammed out of 2k. But I started thinking to myself that this is surely a really profitable way to get by. He must be making a ton of gold. Yeah, even if you're not scamming people and you've just got a bit harder odds, you're going to be in the money most of the time. And yeah, so what I did, I looked online, I started to research what the best sort of tactics were, and there was this website I found, had this big forum post about someone who was doing the same sort of thing and had made like 1 million gold or something, which was a lot of gold back then, believe it or not. In fact, I think they did it in Kata and made 1 million gold, which was even better. And on this guide there were loads of tips about how to sort of lure people into your casino. One of these tips was to dress up like a casino, like cool kind of guy. So the guy riding my trucker, Coke Hoburn, this guy here is basically what they look like. You can get top hats, they're quite expensive. You can also get cool goggles like that. Dress up in the, you know, white shirt, tuxedo jacket, tuxedo pants, dress shoes. I've got the Dark Moon hammer, that wasn't around then, but you can usually wear something cool. There's a lot of cool items you can wear to make yourself look like a sort of pimp. Anyway, I made a macro just like this website said. It was something like roll 63 to 96 and double your gold, roll 97 plus and triple your gold, min bets 200 gold, max bets 20k gold, slash whisper me, something like that. And I put it in slash yell. Almost immediately someone whispered me saying they wanted to try. I was like, wow, cool. They traded me 5,000 gold. And for me that was quite a lot back then, so I was like, wow. They rolled, they lost, they were like, thanks, bye, and I just made 5,000 gold just like that. I was like, wow. So I kept spamming it again, didn't get as many whispers, but got a couple. It was a bit boring, to be honest, just sitting in trade, but I was kind of addicted to the possibility of getting some big monies, so I kept going. However, after spamming a couple of times, someone messaged me saying, you know, that's against the terms of use, you can get banned. Another person also messaged me saying, you just got reported by something like that. I was like, whoa. So I look it up, and yes, it is against the terms of use. Now, back then the rules were a bit different, so no one really knew them. They weren't very clear, but the kind of idea was that you can run an in-game casino, but you can't advertise it in trade. It was weird. Now they've completely changed that. You just can't run it at all. There's lots of examples of Blizzard saying that. But yeah, back then I was kind of hopeful. I kind of knew it was wrong, but I just wanted to hope, saying, well, I won't spam it in trade, I'll just /yell it, because that's so much better, obviously. But I wanted to make some gold, so I carried on. And that was when it all just really kicked off. I made this little area my home. The reason being is lots of people were in Orgrimmar then, there wasn't any Dalaran, anything like that. And from this area, people can hear you, if you /yell, people can hear you from the bank, they can hear you from all around the middle bit area, and they can hear you from the auction house. If you stand by the auction house, people can't hear you in some of the areas around here, so I thought this way I kind of get the best of both worlds. I've also got quick access to my bank where I used to store some things, and yeah, it's just kind of a cool place to be on the steps of the Orgrimmar bank. Very easy place, and I had a few regular customers who would just come and hope to find me, and then they'd just say hey and ask to play. And that actually happened. I actually got regular customers. So a few interesting stories. I think it was on the third or fourth day I was doing this. Someone came up to me and traded 20k, and I was like, wow. 20k was the max I'd set then. They traded it to me, they lost. They did it again, and they lost. They did it 3 times. So I got 60k, they lost every single time. Now that was a crazy amount of gold. That was like double the gold I had, or not quite, well, not double, but that was a lot of gold for me. So yeah, it was crazy, and I was like, wow, this is actually a ridiculous way to get gold. Another quite unfortunate incident, someone traded me 200k. Now this was a few weeks into running my casino. I'd got really cocky, I'd upped the maximum bet to 50,000 gold. But this person came up to me and said they wanted to do 200,000. I was like, wow, but you know, I had the gold then because I'd been doing the casino for a few weeks, so I was like, why not? I'll probably win, the odds are in my favour. Turns out they actually won. They didn't win triple, they won double. And yep, I traded them the 400k. It was fair enough. I was not happy, but you know, I was going to be fair. I never scammed anyone. I never wanted to scam anyone. That sucks. And I knew I didn't have to scam anyone. The odds were in my favour, so in the long run, I was always going to win. The third and final story, and one I feel quite bad about now. There was this guy, he used to log on his level 29 Paladin, I believe it was. And he'd log on right here at just random points in the weekend when I'd usually be here. And the second he logged in, I'd be so excited because this guy was a big better. Like, he put down some big money. Like, every time he'd put the maximum bet 50k pretty much. So I always knew I was in with a great chance with him. And he betted with me for 2 or 3 weeks. And it was crazy the amount of gold I won off him. I think overall I was about 400,000 or 500,000 gold that I got from him. And I think he was like a big raider. He had a load of gold. He didn't seem to care whenever he lost it, but yeah. And then one day he told me he had a gambling problem in real life. And I was like, maybe you shouldn't be gambling on the game then, in like a jokey way. And he was like, yeah, probably. But then he still wanted to play more, and I didn't say no. Which, yeah, I feel quite bad about now, because he has a problem in real life, and I was just making it worse in the game. And the game was making it worse. And that's kind of why I can see why Blizzard don't allow this. but we'll get on to that in a bit. Another interesting part of this was people would often come with a sort of strategy. They thought they could beat the casino, which you can't. In case anyone was wondering, it's not possible. But what these people would do is they would come and they would bet, say, 1,000 gold. And if they won, they'd bet another 1,000. If they lost, they would double their bet to 2,000. If they lost that, they double it again for 4,000, and they just keep doubling until they won. So overall, when they eventually won, they'd be in a profit of the initial amount they bet. So they'd win the 1,000 gold profit. Now, in theory, this kind of works to an extent. However, I made a load of gold off people doing this method, because it's not that uncommon for you to lose 5, 6, 7 in a row. So you lose 1, 2, 4, 8, 16, 32, 64, and all of a sudden you've lost 120k. And at that point, sometimes they ran out of gold. Sometimes that was my maximum bet. Was like 50k was my maximum bet, so I say no, you can only bet 50k now. So then they couldn't win the money back. And yeah, sometimes they just thought, right, I've lost enough, can't lose any more. And yeah, for any of you who think that's a good strategy, it's really not. That's how I made the most of my gold. So what happened? Why did I get banned? Did I lose my gold? Do you guys care? I'll tell you anyway. Why is this Shadow Priest and this leaf? Right, so I did get banned first for like 1 or 2 days. When it first came up, I was freaking out. I was like, whoa, I just got banned, you know. This is my account. I love this account. I don't want to get banned. It was for 1 day, and it was for spamming, was basically the reason. It's because I was spamming in /yell. People reported me for spamming, and once you get enough reports, you just get an automatic ban. Now this actually happened twice on 2 separate occasions, but I thought, well, I'm making so much gold and I only get banned for a day, so surely that's okay. However, after I would say 6 weeks, maybe 2 months of me doing this, and I had made 1 million gold. I'd probably made over 1 million gold, which was a lot of gold back then. It was really cool. I can't remember what I bought, but I bought something to celebrate. I was really happy. I was like, yeah, look at me, some sort of pimp casino man. I was cool. I was well known on the server. People would always say like, hey to me, they'd come see me. And because I never scammed anyone, I usually didn't get a bad reputation or whatever. People would vouch for me, you know, because some people did win a lot of gold from me. Obviously the majority lost, but some did, so there were always people to sort of play with, and yeah, it was fun. I actually really liked it. But all of a sudden, I got hit with a 1 month ban, a 28-day ban, which was, you know, I played a lot of WoW back then, and that was a big sort of hit for me. I was just playing one day, I was on my casino character, and then I suddenly got disconnected. I was like, oh no, have I been banned for a day again because I've been spamming too much? I checked my emails and no, I'd been banned for 1 month, which was, you know, really not ideal. And not only that, but in the message they said, if you get caught again, it's likely to be a much higher or permanent ban. Now, I was a WoW addict back then, so I actually started up a new account on the same Battle.net, so I had all the achievements and mounts, and just played on that for a bit. Leveled up a few more characters, but no more casino. Yeah, another thing, they took the gold. Well, not all the gold, but I think someone had reported me for scamming them. I never scammed them, they just rolled and lost. But that didn't matter because it was against the terms of use, so Blizzard reported me for scamming. And yeah, I lost to the gold. I think I lost about 100k or whatever the amount that person lost who reported me. They must have got their gold back. Well, I don't know if they got their gold back, but I certainly lost that gold. So I'd lost gold, I'd lost a month of my main account, I'd been threatened with a permanent ban, and that was it for me. I wasn't going to try any more. I was also getting into the whole TSM, well not TSM then, but the whole kind of crafting, auction house, playing, etc. Trying to make some real gold, you know, because I mean the gold I made was really nice, but I could make just that amount of gold by doing legitimate things, and I'd probably feel a lot better about it. So that's what I started, and I've never looked back since. So yeah, that was it, guys. The moral of the story, that's kind of up to you. I would say you kind of get what you're given, but I didn't really. I made a load of gold and I still have this account to this day. So Blizzard didn't quite do as much as they should have done maybe. But at the same time, like I say, I never scammed anyone. I never cheated anyone. I told them the exact rules, the exact what they had to roll, and I always paid them if they won. But at the same time, I can see why it's against the rules. First of all, this is a game for 12 plus or whatever, loads of kids play it anyway, and gambling in most countries is an 18 plus activity. And you might say, well, it's not real money, but you know, quite a few people buy gold with real money. You couldn't buy WoW tokens then, but everyone still bought gold from the websites, and if they were losing it on me, it could have been some kid doing it, and yeah, I can see why it's not ideal. So that's the first thing. The second thing is the spamming. I had to spam a lot in trade, and it must have been really annoying. So I do apologise to everyone for that. You know, when I see the casinos spamming nowadays, I don't report them because I think that would be kind of hypocritical, but I do kind of get annoyed. I usually ignore them. Put them on ignore so I don't have to see their spam. Yeah, I don't see it much anymore, I presume because the people who do the casinos are just getting banned, or at least reported for spamming and silenced, because they have that silence thing now as well. So yeah, you don't see the casinos as much anymore, and I've heard Blizzard are clamping down more, at least on the sort of forums and everything that I've been researching. Finally, you think back to that guy who said he had the gambling problem in real life. Obviously I don't know if he was telling the truth, but I presumed he was. He was a really nice guy. I was friends with him. But at the same time, I was taking his gold. He was trading it to me. When he won, I'd give him double his gold. But most of the time he lost, and you know, it doesn't matter how much gold he had, I was perpetuating and sort of magnifying his problem. And I do kind of feel bad for that, and I can certainly see why Blizzard wouldn't want to get involved with any gambling things, so I really don't blame them for banning it. But yeah guys, that is about it. An interesting story. Like I say, I really don't suggest you do this because you will get banned, you'll likely lose your gold, and you probably get a lot of hate from people, reported for spamming, etc. as well. It's just going to be a bad time. But it was an interesting time in my WoW career. And the whole sort of MMO RPG aspect was a lot stronger through me doing that than, you know, me sitting at the auction house with TSM scrolling through my auctions. This was a sort of interactive, very realistic way of making gold, interaction between players, which is always good in MMO, but like I say, probably not in that way. So if Blizzard could implement some sort of, maybe not casino, but some other things that encourage player-to-player interaction, you know, players making their own rules, setting their own sort of macros, or, you know, inviting people, making connections, that's always good in this game. And yeah, maybe they can find a way which doesn't include gambling to do something like that, and it would be really cool, I think. But that's it guys, thanks very much for watching, and until next time, see ya!